It's day 2 and I'm very excited to know how his trading is going. If you're excited to see more, then please subscribe and turn the bell icon on to receive exciting trading content.
Morning, Jaco. It's been 24 hours now since you started this program. Let's just run through a couple of things to catch up. First of all, you're trading a live account. What is your account balance?
So, hi Patrick. It's been a good 24 hours. It's been very interesting. My account balance at the moment, I would say, is above what it started as. So, started with 1,000, and I believe it's over 20 Rand with profit now. So that means up 40 points from yesterday. Had a good day yesterday. Was interesting. Got a lot of trades, got a lot of takes, got a lot of profits. Basically ended up positive, except for one mistake that we'll discuss. Yeah, it'd be good to discuss it. But yeah, so far positive. Yeah.
You started with a balance of 1,000 Rand. What position size are you trading?
Okay. So the position size that I'm trading at the moment is 50 cents per point. So meaning yesterday I made 40 points, which means I made 20 Rand.
Did you find it helped you for the first day having someone to sit with you and give you each trading level according to the strategy?
That is definitely a positive, a bonus. Sitting next to yourself and Ndluku at the beginning of the trading, because I got all this information on how it works and what to look for and that, but once it started, actually seeing how it goes, seeing where you or Hendriku puts trades in, it helped me to see the positions, yes. So going from that, and then from there quickly I caught up to if a trade actually goes through, what to look for next and where to put your next buy stop or your next sell stop.
So after the first day, yesterday, were you in a position this morning to set the platform up yourself, set all the levels yourself according to the strategy?
Definitely I was able to do it. It was a goal of mine to do it today by myself, to set up all the charts and positions and check for what the previous day's high-low was according to that. So yeah, I was able to do it because it's quite simple. You just need to know how and where to do it. Yeah.
So according to the strategy yesterday and this morning, you've traded through 3 trading sessions. If we just take yesterday, how many trades did you actually execute? How many did you take profit on, and how many hit the stop loss?
Okay, so in total I did 60 trades yesterday. 10 of them were stops, meaning they were losses, and 50 of them were profitable. And at the end of that, I was still up by 40 points, so I still made a profit doing 60 trades, losing 10, gaining 50 positive ones.
So based on those statistics, do you agree with me one of the most important aspects of the strategy is firstly knowing when not to trade, and second of all, keeping your stops very tight?
Well, I would agree. Knowing when not to trade is ideal, but that's a skill that develops. That's a skill that increases in fidelity, but the system helps with that. Obviously, the system is based upon that, knowing where to put your positions, where to put your trades in. It's just that it's still difficult to get to grips with it, and knowing where to put your stops is very important. I learned that yesterday. My losses were way bigger than they had to be because I didn't put my stops in. Because you can put your automatic stops in, but in the beginning of the day I didn't know that you could put automatic stops in. But by the time I knew, it was good to actually follow through with them and put them in the respective positions to lesser the loss. Meaning that with that average of me getting 50 trades positive, 10 negative, that yes, I got the stops, but I still got good trades to supplement those losses.
You came here with the intention of supplementing your income. Now, we don't trade all day. We have certain trading sessions. So we have the morning session when London opens. We have the afternoon session when the US opens, New York opens, and then we have the closing session when they close. For you, which was the most profitable session, and going forward, which session do you feel is going to be the best to trade?
So I didn't trade the morning yesterday. Trading the morning at the moment here, and it's quiet, so I wouldn't say it's the most profitable. My most profitable session was the afternoon session when the US opened. That's where I picked up close to 50, I think it was close to 50 points. So it was good for profits, it was busy. For me to supplement my own income looking forward, I would say I'm definitely interested in doing the afternoon sessions. There are definitely some benefits to doing the evening sessions, getting closer to closing. It's just a bit wild, but if you want to secure profits, then I would say the afternoon session is definitely a go.
Okay, so from what you've learned so far, can we agree that you're in a position to supplement your income if you just focus 2 hours a day, 2 to 4 hours a day?
Yes, I would say it's definitely a viable option to supplement my income by just doing 2 hours a day, even 1 hour after the afternoon market opens, because that's where it's active. So definitely a viable option, yes.
Okay. Did you make any stupid mistakes yesterday?
Did you? Well, yes, there were a few errors where it was technical errors. I would say there was one where I accidentally dragged a line. I dragged a TP line somewhere, or I dragged a buy stop line somewhere, and it's stuffed with my results. It happened, but there was also a big error at the end of the night before closing. There I put in a buy stop, and I just missed that it picked up my buy, and then the market dropped with like 350 points, which was disappointing to see, because it was just an error. It wasn't like I was intentionally trying to write that out and see if it would actually balance out or eventually give me a profit. So it was just a technical error that happened, and it sucked.
Is that position still open? And are you just going to sit back and hope that it goes up this afternoon and you get out?
Well, the position isn't open anymore, luckily. When I checked my computer this morning, it actually resolved and it closed, which was a great relief. But looking at what the situation was, the market dropped so drastically that I had hopes that it would pick up. Luckily, I was starting off. It was my first day of trading. I was only trading a 50 cents trading position. So even if it stayed down there, it wouldn't have been such a big knock. But I was very hopeful of it going back up, and the patterns are kind of indicating that it would eventually get back to that point. But you know, I can't say. I can't tell. It's the market. It's up and down. It's wherever it wants to be. I was just hoping that it would resolve itself, and it did.
So last night you went to sleep on a very short-term strategy with an open position. Did you dream about this trade?
So falling asleep wasn't that difficult. My mind was just a bit busy with all the information that was going throughout the day. Woke up, fell asleep again, and then I dreamt about it actually reaching it, and I dreamt about it going worse. So it had an impact on me, because it was my error, and with my error being that much of a bad possibility, it weighs on you, and it did affect me. But you know, luckily my trading position wasn't 100 rand per point or 50, so it helped.
So out of the total, we're going to get through about 4 strategies this week. Are you comfortable, first of all, that this one you've got under the belt after 24 hours? That's the first part of the question. Second part of the question is, do you believe that if you just stuck to the strategy on its own, you could be sustainably profitable in the future? And the third part of this question is, are you excited to rather get a little bit more aggressive into the 1 minute strategy stuff?
So after one day, I would say I've got this covered, got control of it, see what I need to do, trusting the system, and yeah, positive with it. Looking at the second part of your question, on the second part of your question, I believe that only doing this one system would be a supplement. It would be a profitable supplement, just depending on how big your positions are, how often you do it per week. If you do it once a day or you do it twice a day, it's definitely profitable to just focus on this one. And on your third question, I'm definitely excited to see what this 1 minute system is about, how it works, and if I will be able to also understand it, be able to take the reins on it and run with it.
Okay, cool. So the plan for the rest of the day is we're going to stick with the system. I have added some momentum indicators so we can check on follow through there for you. But my suggestion is going forward, we're going to stick with this for the next 2 trading sessions today. And tomorrow morning we'll introduce the 1 minute, which will give you then different time frames to trade for the rest of the week. And we will see if that increases or decreases your profitability.
Alright, so after your first day's trading, from listening to you with Pat there, you enjoyed the experience overall?
Yes, no, definitely an amazing experience, actually seeing what you're capable of doing with the assistance of proper systems, with a proper experience, like say from Patrick. He has a whole lot of experience, and it helps just to have that guiding hand, and it really made me positive about the whole experience. I don't feel lost at all with everything that's going on. I feel like I can actually, even if it's just after this one day, I would be able to, have an idea of how to do it on my own.
One of the things that you always read about if you read a book on trading is going to be this managing emotions. So while you were trading last night, did you ever feel the need to trade more often? To hold longer for greater profits? Or to ignore your stop loss?
Well, at some points I did feel the need to keep it open and ignore the stop loss to see whether it goes up or whether it can go back in my favor or not. On your first question, to either trade more aggressively, I would say yes, but I would say that was more out of excitement because of seeing how the system works and seeing that it actually runs and that it gives results. That was more from an interested side or point of view rather than a greedy side of point of view. And on your question of extending the profit on a transaction, according to this system, I'm only working on fixed TPs from my buy stop or my sell stop positions, and I'm not even aware that it's possible to try to extend your profit.
What is interesting for me is, when you watch people trade, especially when they start out, there's two things happen generally. They don't want to take their stop losses. In other words, they're quite happy to watch your stop loss go from your 30-point usual stop to the 300 or 400-point stop loss before you panic out. So that's the one side. And the other one is to try and let your winners run further than your stipulated targets. So it is interesting that on the stop loss side you were pretty tempted to leave it, and then the TPs you were quite happy to take your 5 points or whatever your target was at the time, right? Now, if you go back to that mistake that you had, the one that you held while you went to sleep, the big question for me is, why did you do that? Why did you leave it in play?
Okay, so with that big mistake, I had no choice whether to leave it in play or not, because we actually saw it only at the end of the night when I was closing all of my open trades, or not my open trade, my buy stops and my sell stop positions within my chart. So I was closing all those down, and then we actually noticed that after I think it was about 20 minutes that the market was diving down, and then we only saw that position. But if it were to come to me seeing that, I would have stopped it way sooner, seeing as the trend of the market went down. I wouldn't have waited. I wouldn't have put myself in that position to be in the unknown of whether it's actually going to reach back to that point or not, to actually TP on my buy.
Now let's assume that that trade, which came back to you last night, okay, do you consider that luck or skill or a probability?
Well, how I saw it last night was a probability. It was not based upon any skill, and I would say some luck was also involved, but mostly a probability because of my limited knowledge about the market and how it goes. And I don't know, I've only been looking at it for a day now, and how it trends and it goes down and it goes up. It's impossible for me to really have a bigger picture idea of it, but based upon what I saw yesterday, it looked like a probability to me.
Now I realize I'm kind of harping on this because it's actually one of the biggest mistakes that new traders make. Alright, when you have an accidental execution, that market could have continued to drop a further 300 points. We've seen markets drop 1,000 points in 10 minutes. So the question really is not so much what do you think you should have done, the question is what do you do going forward? So what would have happened and how would you have responded had you woken up this morning and the market had moved a further 300 points against you? You would have been 600 points down, 300 Rand negative. How would that have made you feel, do you think?
Well, obviously I would have been bummed out because it's not what I was hoping for, as you would call it.
Okay.
Not what my probability of it going back. It was against my probability then. Going forward, if I were to make that same mistake again, I would close it there and then. Just looking back at it rationally, because of, like you say, the market can drop another 300. You've seen it drop thousands of points. If it were the case yesterday, it would have been an even bigger issue. Because it was an issue last night, but rather cut the issue short, take your loss, and then work hard to get it back.